Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the EFC. My name's Gary and today we're going to be discussing England's two warm-up games for the Euros, and then we're going to take a further look into England's actual campaign. So we'll go over those group stages, the last 16, the quarterfinals, semi-finals and the finals, and we'll weigh up England's chances of getting all the way to glory. So without further delay, hit the like and subscribe button and let's get straight into the video. So looking at England's first two opening games, first two games before the Euros, we're playing Austria on Wednesday the 2nd of June at 8 o'clock, and we're playing Romania on Sunday the 6th of June at 5 o'clock. Not the most challenging of opposition, but obviously they had to be European. Austria might be a good challenge, Romania not so much, but it's all going to be about England breaking teams down. Big decisions then, hopefully, on these games. We're going to know what formation England's going to be playing at the tournament and what system, and more importantly, what starting 11. We just hope there's no injuries leading up to those, because the 6th of June one, the one against Romania, is about a week before we start the group. So I'm just going to pop up here now. I'm going to pop up there now. England's group within the Euros. So as you can see, we've got Croatia, Scotland, and the Czech Republic. So most people would look at that and think, you know what, that's an easy group. I don't think it is. However, having said that, I fully expect England to top the group. If we're going to start to take this, apart now, if we're starting to look, England's first game is against Croatia on Sunday, the 13th of June at 2 o'clock. Now, with that being, the first game, it's so important for England to get off with a starting win. England historically do not start tournaments well, and that's why I think the goal in the last World Cup against Tunisia, such an important goal. That goal, that I think that set us on our way, built our confidence up, and it's going to be the same here because, if you look at this group, we've got Croatia, Scotland, and Czech Republic. Czech Republic beat us not long back, actually. Scotland, obviously. Scotland. I'll come on to those in a minute. In Croatia, very mixed bag. I'm certain we've got a better team than Croatia, and I'm certain let's be honest, we blew it. We should have got through to the final. We're a far better team than Croatia, and this is the thing where, going back to England, in a tournament, the England you get isn't the England that you'd get at a Nations League or qualifying, or still games that matters. England can still win games that matter, but not in the summer, not in the middle of the summer at a major tournament. And this is where with England, I would take England beating Croatia 9 times out of 10, but at Euros in a tournament, you never know. Again, it really frustrates me going back to that semi-final with Croatia at the World Cup, because they dominated the ball. We didn't really get going, and it was Southgate not playing to England's strengths, too defensive. We didn't really utilise the attacking talent we had on offer, and we eventually got beat because we ran out of legs, basically. And then 6, 7, 8 months later, we're absolutely thrashing them at Wembley in the Nations League, and just think, well, why can't we do that in the World Cup? I hope it's not going to be the case this time. Let's be real now, if you don't know already, all 3 of England's games are at Wembley. It's enough said. I mean, how fortunate, how amazing is that for England? It automatically puts us as favourite for every single one of these games. We've got to be favourites going into them. I expect England to give anybody a game at Wembley. I really do. We're a good team at home. We've beat many top nations at Wembley, and I fully expect us to top this group. The England-Croatia game is going to be an interesting one, not only because it's England-Croatia and probably they are the best, the next best team in the league, in this group, sorry. So, let's make no mistake about that. If we beat Croatia, we're through. I'm gonna say we're through. However, if we fail to pick up a result against Croatia, our second game's at home to Scotland. Now, Scotland obviously aren't, and that's on the 18th of June, so it's about another week away. It's on a Friday. I mean, what a big game this is. England-Scotland at a tournament at Wembley on a Friday afternoon, middle of summer, 8 o'clock. Bring it on. It's going to be such a good game. I'm so pumped for it. However, we have got to beat that. We've got to win that first game against Croatia, because this is an international derby, and people saying club derbies, any form goes out the window and quality goes out the window. On its day, a derby match, make no mistake, this is a derby. It's the oldest international fixture in the world. It's the oldest fixture in the world, I believe, actually. this could go either way. And it's not to say, I'm not going to sit here and say Scotland are anywhere near as good as England. And if any Scottish fan thinks that, they need the head testing. But, and I say this with a but, it's going to be a massive, massive game. It is not a cert that England will win this. Scotland will be so up for it. Obviously, the fans will. Britain as a country will be so pumped for it. And it could go either way, but the pressure's really going to be on England. Particularly if we lose that opening game, it's really going to be on us. Because I do expect Scotland to pick up points against Czech Republic. So if Scotland are playing Czech Republic in the first game, I fully expect Scotland to come away with 3 points from that first game. If we then lose to Croatia, we're right against Scotland. And I know in some groups 3 teams can go through, but I'm going back. That first game against Croatia is so important given the fact that the second game is Scotland. However, because, like I've said, they're all at Wembley, I fully expect us to do it. Czech Republic, I think, are the whipping boys of this group. I think in recent forms, going back a while, not so much, but I think in recent qualifiers, they've been woeful, absolutely woeful. I fully expect us to absolutely thrash them. But the damage may already have been done from Croatia and Scotland. But let's see, such an important thing. And then that brings us on to the next round. And then you're looking at England, if they qualify as top of the group, which, like I said, I fully expect them to do. We're then looking at facing, as we all know, the group of death, which consists of Portugal, France, Germany, and Hungary. So if England top our group, we face the runner-up of that group essentially. Now, looking at that group, we can all say it, but we're all going to discount Hungary, but you never know. You hope that there's going to be an upset, but I doubt it. But discount Hungary. France, for me, are favourites for the tournament, so I'm going to go for them to top the group. I expect France to top that group quite comfortably, actually. But then, I think Portugal actually are one of the dark horses for this tournament. And they're not so much dark horses because they're defending champions, but they are defending champions. But in qualifying, they've been good. They've got a strong young team now, Portugal. And I think they're second favourites for this tournament. So I think the top 2 favourites of the tournament are in this group, if I'm honest with you. And then Germany, you look at Germany, obviously the recent upset that everyone knows about, Germany losing at home for only like the 3rd time in God knows how many years. But Germany, at tournaments, Germany, form goes out the window. Germany can come into a tournament playing absolute crap and then still be guaranteed a semi-final. So England's really got it cut out. But this is where, we've got to get this monkey off our back, and praise to Southgate. Southgate, since he's taken over, we have got monkeys off our backs. We've won knockout games in the quarter-final. We've won a penalty shootout. We've won our opening game at a tournament. The big one, though, is beating a big team at a tournament. It's got to happen. And this, for me, is if England top the group and get through to this last 16 game against one of these essentially 3 teams, I honestly do believe this. I think if England win that last 16 game, I think we win the tournament. I think it is the biggest match. It will be the biggest match of my life because I feel like it could impact on English football for a long time. I think that's how significant this match could be for English football. If we don't, we go out again to a big team. But if we do, we've got one more potential game at a quarter-final away from Wembley. And then we've got semi-finals and finals at home. Let's not underestimate this. We are essentially in a 7-game tournament, and England could potentially win it playing 2 games away from Wembley. Now, one of those games is obviously going against one of these top opposition, and this is why I think this game is going to be England's biggest game in my lifetime, because I do believe it's the case of between us winning a tournament and not. The Euros would be a good start rather than win the World Cup, but obviously we all want to go there and win it. This team that England's got, last 16 isn't good enough. Let's be honest. We've all been putting out videos about England's squad coming up into this Euros. None of us can decide on probably 5 up to 8 players. We're all swapping and changing. So the depth's there, the squad's there, the talent's there. Last 16, I don't care if we go, and no fans will, let's be honest. I think Southgate's job's at risk if he doesn't get through this. But if we go out in the last 16 against Portugal, France or Germany, despite them being one of those teams, it's a failure for England. Make no mistake about it. I don't think it'd be France anyway, but it is a failure for England because yet again, we haven't beaten a major team. Yet again, we go out last 16. Yet again, it's broken promises. I'm not being pessimistic. I think England will give anybody a game at this tournament, and I believe we are one of the favourites, third, maybe fourth favourite, certainly behind Portugal and France. But it's a tricky one because you wouldn't put England as favourites to beat either one of these two teams, but at the same time, they have to. There's no way around it. They have to win one of these games, and it's going to be it's going to be interesting what happens with Gareth Southgate from this tournament. And I know this is probably for another video, but last 16 isn't good enough for England, regardless of the draw. This is it. Portugal, France, and Germany aren't sat at home thinking, "Oh God, if we finish second out of that group, we're out because we've got England in the next round." But I've heard so many England fans saying it doesn't matter. If we get through the group, we're out anyway. And it's like, well, no, that's not the attitude, and that's the English attitude, and that's probably why we lose to every single major country at major finals. But this is England's time. It is essentially a home tournament. Make no mistake about that. It is a home tournament. We've got to take advantage of it. We've got to grab it by the scruff of the neck. These young players, let them loose, Gareth. Let them loose. Do not go out having 40% of the ball with three shots against a Portugal, France, or Germany in a tight game. Don't. Let's get them on the pitch and let's go out fighting. Wembley lies in the group stage, and either side, there's a middle point in this tournament when England's got to get through it. 2 games. There's essentially 2 games that I don't make England them favourites to win this tournament. It's as simple as that. If England win the last 16, they are automatically favourites for this tournament, given the semi-final and finals at Wembley, and they'll have knocked out a big team. That's how significant I think this last 16 final round could be for England if we top the group. I really do. And I'm not going to go too much then into quarterfinals, semi-finals, and final opponents, because it's one of 8 teams or one of 10, and you start to get into the realms of fantasy. Who could it be? We obviously don't know, but I think with a realistic prediction, most people would put England to favourites for Group D. I certainly would, and then that would mean then we faced obviously the runner-up of the Group F. So I think the scenario I've been discussing here is quite what shall I say, realistic in its happening. So, and this is how important I think it could be with the fact, with those semi-finals and final being at Wembley Stadium, and the squad of talent that's available for Gareth Southgate. So this is England's time. We've got to do it. This last monkey on our back, and it is a monkey on beating a big nation at a big tournament, I think could, loosen the chains off England. That penalty shootout, the next penalty shootout we now come to as an England fan, we are not dreading it. And that's all, I feel like we're going to step up with confidence, and that echoes down to the players on the pitch. As a whole nation would feel confident. That's gone now. And in fact, since then, we actually won another penalty shootout in the Nations League. So that, that's already, you felt that relief, it had gone, and this is the last thing for England. And I feel it's one of those things that's stopping us from progressing. A good win against a big team at a tournament would, I think, build confidence for the England national team for years and years to come. And I believe at this particular tournament, it makes us favourite if we win it. And that's why I think this last 16 tie will be the most significant game in my lifetime as an England fan. I know we've had the semi-final against Croatia, but having looked at that tournament, yes, we'd have got to a final. God, I would love to see England in a final, but I think France was always going to be favourites for that tournament, the World Cup, whoever got through to the final. This time, though, if we knock out Portugal, France, or Germany, and then we've got the semi-final and final at Wembley, we are favourites. Make no mistake, England are favourites. And it's our time. It really is our time. So come on, England. Let's have you. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think might be some of England's struggles. Do you guys think England will top the group? I certainly do. How do you guys think Scotland's going to do? I think they're going to give themselves a good account. But buzzing. Let me know. Let's all get hyped up about the England-Scotland game on a Friday afternoon in the middle of summer. COVID or not, that is going to be an awesome game for different families across the country. Have a bit of Scottish in them in English. Let's have it. Don't get me wrong, it'd be a disaster. It'd be one of the worst nights of my life as an England fan if we lose to Scotland at this tournament at Wembley. I don't think it'll happen. But I think particularly if we beat Croatia, in that first game, the pressure's off and we'll thrash Scotland. I think it's a completely different game if we don't pick up 3 points against them in that opening match. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this tournament. like I said, I think England about third or fourth favourites. I think once, having said that, though, if we get through to that last 16 round and knock one of those big teams out, with the semi-finals being at Wembley, I believe that makes us favourites for the tournament. I really do. So come on, England. Like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.